The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Another edition of Mick Shots here inside the SWBC podcast studio. Bill Jones with Mickey Spagnola, and Everson Walls has learned over the years how to handle tardiness, right?
Make sure you let somebody know.
Let somebody know. It's okay to be tardy as long as you call or text ahead and let them know that you're still out on the golf course.
My Keyshawn Johnson story from training camp that year.
Yeah.
The first year he was back here with Bill Parcells, and he had gone. Oh, Everson got bigger. Keyshawn,
I'll sit in until you come.
We're
Nate Newton has joined us now.
We're in Oxnard, right? And Keyshawn went up to Santa Barbara to see his daughter in a Michael Jordan basketball camp, and it was on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever been on the 101 on Sunday coming south, it's bumper to bumper the whole way, right? Because everybody goes up to the hills and from L.A. to get out of town. And he got in that bumper to bumper traffic, and he looked at his watch and he goes, "I am not going to make it back." So he calls Parcells and says, "Okay, Coach, let me know how much the fine is, because I ain't making it back in time."
It's one thing to call Parcells and let him know he's going to be late, and Everson has been in that position before.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's another thing to call Mickey and let him know
That's
I'm
right.
Be late.
And it's like, okay,
be on time.
So anyway.
Yep, and Nate is here. Hi, Nate.
How y'all guys doing?
So
Good.
Before we dive into football, did you guys watch a little baseball history last night?
What happened?
I saw the highlights of it.
I was
some
actually
in my eye. I'm not
right.
tearful over it, but
So I happened to be the MLB game of the night was the White Sox in Cleveland, and it was a big game in the pennant race, right? So I'm watching.
It was? Why?
Well, they were only 3 games.
Oh, really? Okay. I was wondering.
No, they were only 4 games back.
I tuned in and I was wondering why there were so many people at that game.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. That shows how far baseball is off the radar.
4 games back, but they had a 3-game series with Cleveland.
Okay, go ahead.
In first place. Anyway, they were breaking in every time Judge came to bat, right? So they broke in the 9th inning, and I swear to God, you guys, when I saw him start to swing before he hit the ball, I'm going, this is a home run. This is going to be number 60, right? And sure enough, he just clobbered it.
Okay.
Ties
Babe Ruth. Number 60.
97 years ago.
Wow.
1927.
And he's one away from the American League record,
right.
Roger Maris.
61, and really the record most people recognize.
Acknowledged.
Right?
Aren't you glad you came in here, Nate?
He's learning.
I'm down with Yankee baseball. I am, because it's just a great thing, and hey, it is what it is.
All right, so we showed the highlight last night.
Did you?
And Doug Dunbar, our news anchor, said, that looked like that pitch was grooved.
Yeah, it was right down the pipe.
I said, well, they were playing the Pirates, and it's not like the Pirates have anything to play for.
Well, and all he had to do was wait a few more batters, and then they were down 8-4 when he hit the home run. Mm-hmm. And then by the time the inning was over, it was the 9th. Guy hit a walk-off grand slam.
Well, it wasn't just a guy. It was Giancarlo Stanton. It's a walk-off grand slam. And
So who is coming out of the American and who is coming out of the National this year, Mick, baseball-wise?
The Yankees have been pretty darn good.
The Astros are
and
good.
The Astros are good, too.
So the drum beating and all of that still don't stop the Astros.
And then
That's right. They figured out a different way to do it.
And the Dodgers are like a runaway on the other side, right? Mm-hmm. On all overall.
All right, enough baseball.
But anyway, the Cowboys are out there doing a walkthrough.
They are.
Yes,
they're out there on the field right now.
This is what
on
they're
a 99-degree day, last day of summer.
This is what they're doing with their extra day for the Monday night game. So they'll go. Basically, their regular schedule will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before they head to New York. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to hit the news that hit yesterday afternoon that
Yes.
surprised some people?
Somewhat surprised me. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys released rookie wide receiver Dennis Houston, who basically was the third receiver in these first two games.
So that is surprising when you're
Yes.
releasing someone who has essentially been a starter the first two games.
But Nate and I have talked about it, and they probably they need a roster spot, especially if indeed that Dalton Schultz can't get back and he's got a sprained PCL. And, if he has to miss a game, that leaves him, we talked about it yesterday, with two rookie tight ends. And they like to play a lot of two tight end. So you probably need another tight end up for the game.
And Sean McEwen is the guy on the practice squad,
Right.
tight end.
Right. Or if they find somebody, but they would have found him already, right, in free agent.
Well, they do have an extra day this week.
Yeah,
but,
to look.
uh-huh.
I have an extra gripe.
An extra gripe.
See, these are the moves that I don't understand, and maybe you guys can break it down to me a little bit better. Why?
Why him?
Why is he in your rotation?
Oh, to start with.
Yeah, and he that don't work. That's not logic in my mind. He's essentially, like you said, Bill, a starter, and now he's not there. That don't work, Mick.
Well, here's the deal.
That was Dak's boy, I guess no Dak, no him.
No, well, no, it was actually Cooper's boy because Coop was with him on the second team during training camp.
But he was with the first team during training camp.
Then training camp.
I mean, when I got to camp a few days late, and that's another story. He was taking reps ahead of James Washington before James Washington went down.
Well, no, James Washington got hurt right away.
No, this was before James Washington got hurt. Dennis Houston was taking reps with the first team ahead of James Washington
because he would hurt in the offseason.
Well, but James Washington was healthy at that point.
Yeah, right.
He was out there and he wasn't hindered at all. But to Nate's point, he was Dak's guy in the offseason. So that's what's surprising about it.
Just help me and the fans understand.
The only thing I can understand is that Jalen Tolbert must be ready to go.
Okay.
And Michael Gallup might be ready to go.
Right.
Okay.
And then because they needed an open roster spot, they're going to have to let somebody go.
Here's the other thing that, right or wrong, might factor into the decision.
Right.
All right. Dennis Houston is an undrafted guy out of Western Illinois.
Right.
Yes. And they're
Jalen Tolbert is a third-round pick. Mm-hmm. Okay. Simi Fehoko was a fifth-round pick last year. And what they are hoping is that when other teams look at the way they graded Dennis Houston coming out of college in the spring,
they will keep that thought.
They'll keep that thought, and they haven't changed that thought after seeing him and getting the reports out of here that maybe he'll slide through and they can put him on the practice squad because other teams have Dennis Houston's on their roster too. And they have some teams, now it only takes one, that doesn't have a roster dilemma.
And I'll guarantee you,
receiver.
and when you're looking for somebody that can get through and then sign them back to your practice squad.
Now they tried that with
Ridgeway, but Ridgeway was a fifth-round pick, right? Mm-hmm. And he's 380 pounds. Well, not 80, 330 probably. And everybody's looking for a big body. Right?
At this time, yes.
And the Cowboys are looking at it, too, maybe in a Dennis Houston case. Okay, let's say he gets picked up by another team. Well, a few weeks from now, when Dak is back,
he might be
he might get released by that team. They might be able to pick him up when the situation changes. But you're right. It is curious that someone that you felt so highly about, even to the point where he's in the first two regular season games, getting
so
snaps.
They have to play a hunch, and we'll see if they're right.
Okay,
that shows how crunched they are on their roster right now.
Yeah, especially
with guys that they value,
and especially when you're carrying some guys on the roster that are hurt that can't play, right? And so Connor McGovern's probably not ready this week.
That's high ankle sprain, right?
His was yes, ankle.
That is a minimum of 4 weeks. That's a minimum.
Everybody says 2 to 4, don't they?
No, wow. And I I got to say that the training staff don't believe that. You know, they know. They know. The optimistic coaching staff and maybe a few of the scouting guys may see different, but we've been around enough of these high ankle sprains.
Yeah.
You know, if he do get back, boy, I would like to see the dosage they give him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they're carrying J-Ron Curse still, and he could miss more time with this sprained knee, right? His was a knee.
Yes.
And they're carrying Dak, right? So you've got a bunch of guys that you could have put on IR, but they're hopeful they'll get back in time.
Then see, this is kind of the price you pay. Now we'll see if what happens with Dennis Houston.
Yes.
If he gets picked up. If he does get picked up by another team, then that's the price you pay for trying to play it to where maybe a J-Ron Curse will get back before that 4-week period would have been up if you had put him on injured reserve last week, or in the case of Dak or McGovern or any of those injured players. That's the game they're playing right now.
It is not a dangerous game because, as much as I like to see a free agent do well, okay, if somebody do pick up Houston – oh, well.
Right.
Okay.
And when you're looking
Right.
long
And that's-
range, you're counting on Gallup coming back. You're counting on Washington coming back.
Yes.
You're counting on
So you're playing the long ball.
yeah. So you got two guys there that and so at some point, and Noah Brown's playing well. So now there's 4.
And really, when you sign Dennis Houston, you expected that probably he would be on the practice squad. Even if things work out very well and he shows well in the preseason, in all likelihood, being an undrafted guy in his rookie year, he's going to be a practice squad player.
Yes, sir.
And
he would have had to beat out Noah Brown or Simi. And they're going to hang with Simi because I think they've seen something.
The thing is, let me ask you guys, and I'm finna jump totally off right quickly. I'm gonna jump totally off. You're gonna have to use this kid sooner or later, Simi.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
You can't keep potential never does anything sitting on the bench.
Well, they got him a few snaps this last game.
But even we had Houston ahead of him.
He had 16 snaps the first week against Tampa Bay and 6 against Cincinnati.
But all of those snaps should have been not to Houston, but to him.
Well,
So the teams that prosper in development saying, you know what, this is who we drafted. We pride ourselves on being that team. You got to give him the reps. See, like now, everybody's so gung-ho on Peterson being the left guard. Not me. You're starting to get a groove. The groove is with these 2 rookies, these 2 young guys, Forniak and the left tackle. Let's let them work. Let the coaches see what these guys – you're in your 3rd preseason game coming up. Let these coaches adapt and get these guys right and developed. Okay, we throw Forniak back on there, and that's what it said. Peters go in there, and all of a sudden.
And by the way, for those who have not heard Nate talk about his thoughts on these September games, these are preseason games
they
in
are.
his mind in September, and the real season starts in October.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
Okay. Boy, you're so.
I'm just thinking some people out there might say, "Oh, no, Nate thinks this is preseason."
Everson should be running in here to get this knowledge. I mean, you 2 guys, man, a wealth of knowledge.
And I think, and no matter what other people think of Peters, I still think that if he gets on, is someone knocking at the door?
Someone knocking at the door. We'll get to a break here in a second.
Break.
Right.
But I was just going to finish the thought, and we can go to break. Peters, I think if he ever gets active, he's the backup tackle / guard. I don't think he's immediately going into a starting lineup.
Looks like a cubby at the door.
All right.
When we come back,
Y'all
you're
be
on
good.
Mick Shots in just a moment. Thank you, Nate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home. Have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860, kpostcompany.com.
Dynamic. That was dynamic.
And look who's here now, Everson Walls.
Hey, I've been here. What are you talking about?
We talked about it off the top. You've learned a lot in your time where you know that if you're gonna, it's okay to be tardy as long as you text or call ahead and let people know that
I
you're
sent
be
you
tardy.
a snapshot of my location. Almost a pin drop. Let you know I'm close, baby.
And how did it go?
I was playing well.
Yeah.
My short game was good. I had 2 birdie putts. You're at
Cowboys
shots,
Golf Club?
Cowboys Golf Club. We were out there for a charity. It was I think it was Special Olympics. It was a good job.
Oh, that's funny. He did
job.
send a snapshot.
You see that?
He was on
Yeah,
the
but I'm
road.
on it, bro. I'm on
You
it,
don't
bro.
believe me? Here I am.
Here I am, baby.
Yeah.
When you're at Cowboys, do you drive your own cart?
But
your
you know
name
what?
on it.
Hey, it's amazing that you mentioned that. My golf mate had my cart. He should, and I had Darren Woodson's cart. I said, that's 2 of my favorite people right there.
Myself and Darren Woodson. I love it. All right, let's just to clear up our first segment. We talked a lot about the release of Dennis Houston. Cowboys hope to get him to the practice squad if he clears waivers. Now, and as Everson pointed out, okay, so that means Gallup's going to be ready to go. Well, we'll see on Gallup, okay, but they don't have to make a roster move in order for Gallup to play this week.
Yes.
He's already on the 53, and so the significance of this move from a roster standpoint would be perhaps to get Sean McEwen from the practice squad, creates a spot there. They've got multiple moves they have to make to bring up practice squad guys.
And they can hold off on Will Greer because you get 3 call-ups, so you use him.
He's got 2 more weeks to go.
He's got 2 more weeks to go, and then maybe by then Dak's ready to come back. If he's not, then
and this week, the other call-up was Alec Lindstrom,
Right.
Backup interior lineman, and so we'll see where. And so that they've got 2 more weeks for him in that regard.
and maybe by then McGovern's back in time,
right?
And they don't have.
And
to
then
make
if
that
you're
move.
thinking Jason Peters, they haven't used any call-ups on him, obviously, and so they can play with that for a little bit. But
Right.
it's a maximum 3 call-ups per player.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, but the main thing is Dak being too aggressive? That's what I want to know. They're talking 2 weeks now. Started off
Well, Jerry on his radio show, he admitted he was being very optimistic, and 2 weeks from yesterday would not mean the Washington game, because that 2 weeks from yesterday would be the Tuesday after the Washington game,
Right.
So that would be
the Rams.
So then
that'd be the Rams game, which would be the 4th game of the season,
Right.
So he's
or
speaking.
the 5th game of the season.
He was speaking alternative truth.
No, he was speaking truth. It was you just had to do the math on. You had to be looking at a calendar.
When you say
2
he's
weeks from
speaking
now.
truth, but I'm not listening to anything you said before that. He's speaking truth, but no, there's no
Well,
but after truth.
I think what everybody needs to understand is that everybody's now worried about rushing him back.
I am.
They're not going to rush. The medical people will not rush him back. The bone might rush him back if it's healed. And if it's not, then they're not going to send him out there. He needs his right hand. He needs the thumb, right?
He does.
And he can't play with a protective covering on it. You can't throw the football with whatever he has on his hand right now. And the stitches aren't even out yet. They're supposed to be out, what did Mike say, at the end of this week? So the end of this week to me is Thursday or Friday or Saturday. So, yeah, I think after the stitches come out, they probably x-ray it again and see what's going on. The fact that they put a plate in there will facilitate, the healing. It'll go faster. But again, the wound's got to close. He's got to be able to grip the ball. The bone's got to heal. So,
and let's be real. When he comes back,
and he's going to get hit again.
That's what I'm saying. We're still, every time that he gets a close rush,
Right.
we're going to be, looking at that hand. And so to me, as much as we worry about him getting back, we should worry about the protection. I just don't feel comfortable putting him back there if we're not going to protect him the way we have to, and if he's not going to get the ball out sooner than he should. Because as we look at it, I think we've talked yesterday, I was talking with someone, you look at Aaron Rodgers and you look at Brady. The reason that they stay healthy is because they know when to get rid of the ball, and their protection is there for them. Those two things must happen. So that's on the quarterback and the O-line.
There you go.
There you go. All right.
And by the way, speaking of injuries, I saw the Giants have one that's significant. Their defensive tackle, Leonard Williams, has a sprained MCL. And while the head coach says day to day, we know sprained MCLs are usually 2 to 4. As a matter of fact, their rookie defensive end, Thibodeau, sprained his MCL.
Oh, wow. That's the guy. That's the talker.
That was August 22nd that he sprained his MCL, and at that point they said out 3 to 4 weeks.
And he's still not ready to play in this game. And this is 3 weeks
and the rookie's
into
playing
the season. So I'm saying, I mean, Thibodeau's not ready. He's not playing.
Okay.
He's not ready yet. And so, Leonard Williams is probably out. And that's significant. That's a big boy in the middle there.
They expect big things from him.
And I read that he has played 114 straight games in his career. 71 with the Jets, 43 with the Giants.
I think I recall a couple of years ago, about this time of the season, the Cowboys played the Jets, an infamous game that the Jets won.
Yes.
I think Leonard Williams was having some issues then, too, and wound up playing in that game.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's a good point.
So just because they say that he might not be playing.
Well, they haven't said that.
Yeah.
It was pointed out that with that injury, that's usually, the time. But that would be significant because, number one, obviously how good he is, but number two, they like to blitz a lot. And so if you got a big guy like that in the middle that can stop the run if you get caught blitzing, it kind of minimizes it.
And they've, of course, with the new coaching staff, new defensive coordinator as well, who used to be the Ravens defensive coordinator, and that would be Don Wink Martindale for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Wink
Martindale.
And that's
very
all
well
one
respected.
word, right? It's not Wink hyphen Martindale.
Wink is his nickname.
Wasn't there some
We'll get into that.
TV
Yeah, let's
guy
get into
or
that
something
later.
that Wink Martindale?
It's too delicate for me.
So I mean, it's a Giants team. Boy, they've got it going on there. I mean, and they got the good old college atmosphere that they're trying to stir up for this game. And
they're okay.
You try to ride the momentum and.
I'm going to ask Everson what they asked me today.
What's that, buddy?
When you play in an atmosphere like that, they're going to pass out white towels. Everybody's going to be fired up. They're 2-0. It's a new staff. From a visiting team, does any of that ever affect you? If you're not trying to get calls in, right?
It doesn't affect the visiting team as much as it uplifts the home team.
That was my answer.
That is so true.
Okay.
Well, with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The way we were waving the towels just this Sunday, that elevated our team. There's no doubt about it. Guys were more alert, fewer mistakes, fewer penalties. But the team that comes in, they can remedy that by just being themselves, being the good team that they are. Because when it comes down to it, emotion doesn't override performance and responsibility. So if you come in as a visiting team and you do your job, you're where you're supposed to be, and you let all of that other emotion have nothing to do with your performance, as long as your performance is credible, you can go in there and win easily. And I mean easily. I mean easily.
And by the way, speaking of as long as you can get the plays in, so Quinn pointed out on that last defensive possession they had.
Too many guys on the field?
No. The one where Diggs made the tackle, forced him to punt.
Yes.
The communication to the helmet on the field was out. Well, theirs was out too, okay, to call the play in.
Yeah.
But
after like 18 seconds.
I found out the communication is supposed to go off at 15 seconds.
15 seconds,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy controlling that, evidently, I don't know if he got involved in the game, went to sleep, but I don't think he turned it on.
Pretty sure he did not go to sleep.
He didn't have the button on after he turned it off on the previous play.
You know why? Because everyone's enamored with Jerry's world. I told you the referees are the same way.
Even the worker.
I mean,
no,
come on,
he's not
guys.
a referee.
No, but he's still an official in the game.
That's his job.
Right.
We could do that job.
But that's their job to not throw flags when they're supposed to throw them. That's their job to see infractions that no one else sees. Because, I don't know, it's something about Jerry's world. I'm not blaming it on Jerry. Of course, I love the place. But I think there's a distraction there that's always getting into the human element.
But that guy has
game.
probably been up there for years doing that.
Yeah, well, what's he doing then?
Well, I don't know.
He didn't either.
And the other thing I didn't realize, it's like, they got to turn it off so they can't be talking to him when they get to the line of scrimmage. And so my question was, well, what happens if they go no huddle? And it's like, as soon as the ball's snapped, the communication to the quarterback and whoever it has on defense, it goes off.
Yeah.
So they can't talk to him while
So
the
what do you
play's
think happened
going on.
then? What do you think happened then?
I'm telling you what happened.
I'm telling you.
Oh, you think they turned it off to hurt the other team?
No, I just think people
Which
just
was
get
a Parcells
enamored.
Belichick thing.
Yeah, they open up the drawbridge just so your field goals can go out. But no, I truly think the human element of this entire thing, it gets in the way. We get enamored with it. We get caught up. You're going to tell me referees don't get caught up? They get caught up.
So anyway, the Cowboys, Quinn said that they were able to communicate to the coach through the coaches' headsets, and then whoever was on the sideline got to play in the defensive call in on time.
Thank God.
But
otherwise we'd be talking about this in a whole nother manner.
I mean, that was a big play, right? He doesn't make that. It was
huge.
Was 3rd and 4, third and 3.
Yeah,
right?
We called it maybe the biggest play of the game.
Yeah. And
there's no doubt it was.
And that's why there was a little, as Quinn said, there was a lot of chaos on the sideline at that point.
And in the booth.
Do you think there was chaos on the Cowboys sideline?
Oh.
What about on the Bengals sideline?
So, I don't know if he said or I was told, but they were running down the sideline to
yelling.
Get the call in, right?
Don't you know they're still talking about it? The Bengals that
they must have done it on
they
purpose.
did it. Yep, that's right. Key point of the game.
That stuff happens a lot to us. Trust me.
So anyway, when we mentioned about
I guarantee you in Cincinnati they think it happens more to them.
Well, yeah, they're about like us. I said it during the game. Sometimes they play as dumb as we do, and sometimes we play dumb.
Yeah.
The penalties, unnecessary penalties, the ability.
That's
not
a great point. And when you're talking about a backup quarterback like Cooper Rush and the importance of taking care of the football, because sometimes the other team, whether it's the Bengals, the Giants,
or the Vikings,
whoever, they might do some dumb stuff just like you're prone to do. Or
you get lucky. We look at Cooper's. Well, I don't know if we talked about this yesterday. Cooper Rush, last win, his only other win. Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Do you recall how lucky we were? The last touchdown to Cooper?
Right.
If you recall.
Amari Cooper.
The DB went for the pick. I think it went right through his hands.
Maybe.
And it bounced up into Cooper's arms for a touchdown. You recall that?
I don't remember the bounce.
The DB had it. They played a slant. He jumped it. He missed it. Cooper catches it.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
And then he trotted
and that's
into
the
end
winning
zone.
touchdown. Okay, so here we go. 3rd down, 4th down, whatever it was. He's not throwing to Brown. He was throwing to the tight end coming across. Shorter route. But it gets tipped, and Brown goes for it. I mean, you can be lucky in 2 starts.
Would you rather be lucky or good?
In this case, lucky.
And by the way, I also found out, Quinn pointed it out, that during training camp, McCarthy, when they were in team and they were doing basically advance the ball type stuff, he'd say, okay, communication's off. Now deal with it.
That's smart. I like that.
Couldn't get the play into the quarterback, okay, or to the defense. Now signal in like you have to signal in the call, or scream it in, one of the two. I mean, I guess you could scream it in if you could hear. and they probably wouldn't know what you were saying. The other team wouldn't.
Yeah, it depends on what stadium you're in. If you're trying to scream it in.
Yeah, that one you probably wouldn't,
wouldn't hear anything. We were doing the wave at that time.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, and to wrap up this segment, I mentioned Don Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. And the reason I mention him, if you've watched the Ravens defense here in the last few years, you may be getting a dose of that with the Giants on Monday night. His nickname, Wink, he got it when he was in college at Defiance College in Ohio.
What?
And they called him Wink Martindale because he shared the same last name as the longtime game show host Wink Martindale, who has a star in Hollywood.
Wow, that's some good information.
And Mickey, these are some of Mickey's favorite game shows from the past. He hosted Gambit, Tic-Tac-Toe, High Rollers, and Debt. And there you have it.
Damn.
The Wink Martindale
I never heard
story.
of any of those, man. I'm old.
And Mick Shots continues in a moment.
Back to Mick Shots.
Single game tickets. They are limited for the 2022 Dallas Cowboys season at AT&T Stadium, and they're available now. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official ticket provider of AT&T Stadium.
Man, you got energy today, man. Spaz.
I do.
That's pretty good, bro.
That's right. He had his. Well, you weren't off yesterday like the players were.
No,
but
I
you
was
got
not.
You're re-energized. I think a win does that for you.
It does it?
Yeah.
Gets everybody juiced?
Yeah, that's right. It does. It's your team, for fans out there, their team wins, and they just come into the office on Monday, and they're feeling an extra bounce in their step. And,
Matter of fact, I was giving some of the youngins a little philosophy lesson the other day because they were talking about, this feels so much better than last week. And I said, why? Did that change how you work? And they go, everybody's in such a good mood. I said, you got to learn that when they lose, if you did your job, you didn't lose. So don't let that drag you down.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, my thing was I tried to take a lot of pride in if we're losing, I try not to look like a loser out there. Body language, performance, and everything.
I remember it was one of Parcells, it might have been his first year, and we met at the crossing in the breezeway at the ranch, and they had just lost, and it was Monday, and I could see him coming.
And you couldn't avoid him.
And I basically, instead of just saying hi, I said, "Hi, how's it going?" He goes, "What do you think?" And I learned. I said, "Okay."
I think he would rather you wouldn't have said anything.
After that, it's just hi, right?
All right, a report from Giants practice going on now. Defensive lineman Leonard Williams not spotted at practice. Wide receiver Sterling Shepard, a rest day. Wide receiver Kadarius Toney.
A rest, not a rest day. I thought he got arrested.
A rest day.
A pause, rest day.
Wide receiver Kadarius Toney, hamstring. Wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, knee. Cornerback Aaron Robinson, appendicitis. And cornerback Nick McLeod, hamstring. And there you're caught up with what's happening with the Giants right now.
So the Cowboys have to give an injury report today. Is that the official injury report?
That is
or
just
that
what was spotted at practice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's not the official injury
Because I'm thinking
report.
they don't probably have to do one till tomorrow.
Tom Brady gets a rest day every Wednesday now. You saw that, right?
Whatever, dude.
Last week it was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Either you play or you don't play. All right? You practice or you don't practice. What is this deal? Got another hand.
And I thought he had something going because he wears and I didn't realize it, he wears a glove on his left hand.
Right.
So when I was watching the game, not only did he have a glove on his left hand, but he had a white sleeve on his arm. And I'm going, well, they said he was a rest day, and that looks like they're protecting something.
I don't like it. I don't like these different rules for different players. I get it. Once you start singling people out for this or that, then you get guys like me that are pissed off, like, okay, hold up, man.
What about me?
What about me? I had some moments where I really could have used this or that, chose not to, and didn't even really have a choice. It wasn't I chose not to. I just don't like it. If you're going to play, you play. If you can't play, you can't play. That's all there's to it.
Tom didn't give you rest days?
Heck no. Parcells either. Or Belichick. God, or Eddie Robb. Man, I had all those coaches, man. They didn't play, man.
What'd they ever do?
Yeah, they weren't winners.
No wonder Everson's so old school.
I am, man, for real. I am. I was taught old school. It was beat into my head, sometimes literally. So let's go.
All right, Mickey, come up with something. I'm looking up something now.
I got one for you.
Okay, go, because I'm looking up something that's going to benefit this conversation. Go.
You know how, and I think this probably escaped with the dramatic win at the end, Cooper Rush's performance, Noah Brown's performance, Micah Parsons' performance. But Donovan Wilson had a hell of a game. And I think that got overlooked. And Mike was asked about it today, and asked somebody, kind of put the question as what kind of impact does he have, or the safeties. And he said impact. He goes, you already said it. He made an impact in that game.
He did.
And he had a hell of a line. I believe he led them in tackles with 8.
I thought, okay, yeah.
9, maybe somewhere in there. He played every single snap. And I just wanted to point out that this didn't just happen overnight. Remember, he had surgery in the off season. After the season was over, it was a
shoulder, right?
No, it was, what do they call it? Like an athletic muscle injury around your groin.
Sports hernia?
Sports hernia. Yeah, athletic hernia. I was trying to remember, right? It was like we're playing.
It triggered him. So there
something
you go.
that rhymes with athletics, sports.
We're playing password here, right?
Alan Ludden, not hosted by Wink Martindale.
Yes, absolutely. See, it all comes in circle. Anyway, he had to, I was told how hard he worked in the off season, to get right. And as a matter of fact, so every year in the off season they've been doing this. They pick like 10 guys and they give them the off season workout award. Like these guys did the best, they made the most gains. And this year they picked the guy that was kind of the, how would I say it, most valuable off season workout award winner. And it was Donovan Wilson. And, because one of the guys last week they gave him a T-shirt, right? Yeah. They give him a special
T-shirt,
a cooked dinner by the chef.
Okay.
And they get the top 10 parking spots in that garage. And when I was talking to Wilson about it, we did a story on him for the Game Day magazine, and I mentioned the parking garage spot, and he goes, "Oh, that's big." He goes, "That thing is long, right? And if you get to park up in the front, it saves you a lot of lessons." And then this year, the strength and conditioning actually McCarthy did, and Harold Nash, they came up with the award for the most valuable guy, and they called it the Golden Whistle Award. And so when they took the picture of the guys that won it this year, out at training camp, he had his gold chain on with this little gold whistle there, and he's holding it out like this, right? So he was pretty proud of himself. But the bottom line is this just didn't happen overnight. He's finally healthy, And boy, he'll lay some wood out there on you.
Well,
too.
I like what I saw was, first of all, he knew exactly where to be at all times. He was never out of position. And when he met the ball carrier, he met him with force. And these guys were bigger than he was. But there was there was no meek tackling, position.
He packs a punch.
He came with it. And let's remember, before J-Ron, he was the guy.
Right.
He was coming in, laying wood on everybody. He hurt himself, as a matter of fact, if you recall.
He told me he heard it the first game of the year and played with it the entire season.
Yeah.
And he missed about 5 or 6 games.
Yes, he did.
Like that.
Yes, he did. And that's when we heard about J-Ron.
Right.
If you recall, J-Ron was still balling, but when Wilson got hurt, that's when we said, okay, wow, we've got another guy here. And it spoke to the depth that we had in our secondary at the time. So, no, I'm not surprised at how he's playing at all. And when J-Ron comes back, I can't wait to see both of them on the field at the same time. You talk about coming with it, because Donovan brings it, and J-Ron's bringing it.
Right.
And by the way, when we did our deal, Ron Springs, the late Ron Springs, he was always mad that Bob Brunick was given the offseason award over him. And Bob Brunick got a Rolex.
Oh, my.
Bob Ward was giving out Rolexes. So I don't know what the heck they're talking about with parking spaces. I'll take the Rolex.
No
Parking
kidding.
space dinner
Back in
and
the
a
day,
T-shirt.
back in the day, yeah, a T-shirt. Get out of here with a whistle, man. No, give me that Rolex that Bob Ward was giving out.
Wow.
One of the things the coaches pointed out about him was that because he had been injured kind of every year, and they said it's just the way he plays. He hits so hard and he goes in there.
And he's not that big,
Right.
like J-Ron.
And if you think about it, you said he always is where he's supposed to be. Well, he had a tackle behind the line. He missed it. Remember, he dove through
right.
on the running back,
Right.
and he kind of whiffed. But there was another play
Where
he saw where it was coming,
And he went through the running back and did
Right.
not miss that tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really speaks to having quality depth throughout your roster. When you
Yes.
lose a guy like Curse, and then you've got a guy like Wilson, who's basically a starter who
Right.
can assume that
Or you
same
lose
role.
Curse and you
Yeah.
can put Anthony Barr out there when
I
they
was
go,
gonna mention
when they
him
go
as well.
nickel,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
he had his best.
He had a
game,
good
too.
game, correct.
And that kind of helped out with taking up the slack of Curse and not kind of playing that extra linebacker in the nickel.
Not to overcommit, but all of that's happening because of one person,
Micah Parsons.
Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
All of that. He creates the havoc, and we come in and clean it up. That's basically all it is.
And with Barr there, they have more flexibility how they use Parsons. Because when Quinn did his interview, somebody said about putting him on the defensive line all the time, and he goes, well, when they're passing,
Yeah.
just like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But he likes the flexibility of putting him at
Hey,
linebacker.
I think we're kind of stuck on that flexibility. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Mike on the line all the time.
But I just think if he's on the line all the time, they know where he's at, and they can double him and triple him.
Not if he comes from the inside the way they did, and the other side.
Right.
You can
Well, it's
still
finding
move
the
him.
weakness on that offense, and
Right.
you can use him there.
Find the soft spot.
That's right, man. That's the smart way to do it. He won't be in one spot because that way they can predict where he'll be. But if we show unpredictability, then their whole blocking scheme is kind of.
I just like that one when they use all 3 linebackers out there, and you have 4 down defensive linemen, and you put him on the line
Yes.
next to DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yes.
Now pick your poison.
Well, I think that's what they ran when Diggs made the play. Because I thought I remember Micah being inside on that play. I could be wrong, but I thought they had crowded the inside there, and then all the picks went outside, and that gave Diggs a chance to make the move.
And they actually played that perfectly because a lot of times when they do the bunch over there, now the DB's got to figure out who's going where, right? Either you're going with your guy or you're in zone.
Well, Diggs played off.
He played off.
And he got that way. He didn't get caught up in the interference.
Yeah.
Perfect decision.
Okay, we got to close with. I'm going to close with this.
You found what you were looking for.
Everson was talking about who he had played for, and from
All the coaches?
Yeah, all the coaches he had played for. List them off there.
Eddie Robb, Tom Landry,
Okay,
Parcells, Belichick. And we could mention Nick Saban and
You didn't
somebody
say-
else.
you didn't
I
say-
didn't say Gigi. No.
You didn't say who?
I did Gigi.
Jimmy.
Gigi.
Oh,
But that's funny because I had forgotten about Saban, and Saban was the defensive coordinator with the Browns,
right?
When Belichick was the head coach. This made me, when you were rattling off those names, it reminded me of this little stat. Remember the other day I was talking about that the Patriots over the last 21 years have not
Never
started the
gone
season
0-2.
0-2, and the Cowboys have only one time in the last 21
That's right.
years. That was in 2010. Started the year 0-2. The Cleveland Browns franchise, whether it's the current one or the one that you played with,
Or the Art Modell.
Art Modell Browns.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. It's been since 1993 since they started the season 2-0.
2-0.
2-0. Oh, I heard that one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And so who was the head coach? It was Bill Belichick.
Oh, wow.
So Belichick with the Patriots had never started in the last 21 years, 0-2. And he's the last one to coach the Browns to a 2-0 start. And you were a member of that team, and Nick Saban was his defensive
That's
coordinator.
right.
Jim Bates was on that staff,
Jim
too.
Bates, the D-line. That's right.
He played for all the big
That
coaches.
sure
That's
did.
right.
That
Even
sure
Jimmy
did.
and Jimmy probably and Saban didn't give you days off either.
And who?
No.
Which of those coaches would excuse you for tardiness if you were at the golf course late for a meeting? Okay.
None. I can't think of one. Maybe Bates.
And Jim Bates. That's
And
right.
Jim didn't have any juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That does it for
he
this
was
edition.
a gem.
He was
Yes, he
good.
was. All right. And we will chat at you again tomorrow at noon.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!